the best fit for me for the quality and the price of the reels. So when I called out, I said I really want the reels. They put me on the team for the rods and the reels, and I love the rods. I use the Speed Demon Pro rods and the Spirale
Love
rods.
that. Hi,
Nikki here.
this is KastKing on the Line with your host, Nikki. Good evening. This is KastKing on the Line with your host, Nikki. And tonight we have a wonderful guest, Mr. Jake Ormond. Before we introduce Jake, I just want to remind you guys, if you are watching the podcast through video, through KastKing, make sure you go ahead and press that subscribe button so that you can follow along on our adventures and you don't miss it. And if you're listening through the podcast, make sure you keep following along. We're all over the place, iTunes and Spotify and Apple iTunes. So make sure you check us out, follow along, so you don't miss any crazy adventures, because I tell you what, we do some crazy things. You never know who we're going to have on, what we're going to be doing. I hope everybody's having a wonderful night, staying safe out there. And yeah, so Mr. Jake Ormond, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Now, you just got back from Okeechobee, right? You were fishing Okeechobee?
Yeah, that's right. I fished the Major League Fishing Pro Circuit on Lake Okeechobee. That was the first of the 2021 season's first stop. Basically, it was a good tournament for me. I was consistent. I didn't really get on the really big fish, but I had 2 consistent days. Finished 54th and had a good check to come out of that one with. So I was happy with my performance there.
That's awesome. That's congratulations on that. And I know Okeechobee. I know I was out there. I worked with KastKing out there, and they're known for its wind, how windy it is out there. So was it kind of windy and crazy?
Yeah, we had a lot of wind out of the south both days that I fished, which I stayed in the South Bay area, which helped block the wind. I had the rim canal and the levee there that blocked the wind off of me from that side, and then it couldn't really build up. I was fishing on the inside in the South Bay area, so that it really didn't build up and couldn't get too bad in that area. I'm sure on the people that fish the north side, they probably had to deal with the wind a lot worse than what I had.
Now, you fish a lot of tournaments?
Yes, I fished this year I'm fishing the Major League Fishing Pro Circuit, and I'm also fishing the Toyota Series Southwest Division, and I have a local tournament that I run here by the house. It's every Friday night from May to September.
Really? What's that about?
It's a little fruit jar tournament here we run that I've been doing. I've been running it for probably 5 years now. Basically, it's $50 a boat entry fee. You start fishing at 7, and you have to be back at 12 o'clock. So we fish 7 to midnight, and it's just a good group of guys here locally. We have anywhere from usually around 8 to 15 boats every week that fish every week.
Wow. That sounds really good. That sounds really cool. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it about 5 years. I think I've been running this tournament for about 5 years. It's been really good. It's been a lot of fun. We have a lot of the same people every night, so there's a lot of fun joking around and competition just right here locally with the people that fish every week. So it is a lot of fun.
That sounds really cool. Now you're a bass fisherman. So is there any other kind of fish that you like to go fishing for?
Yeah, I'm mostly bass fishing. I do crappie fish and catfish just a little bit, but it's mostly just the bass fishing, and I do a little crappie fishing. I like to eat those, so they're pretty good. A lot of fun.
Never had it, but I always wanted to try it. And I've never caught catfish on purpose. It was always by accident. But when I caught or sank into them, I tell you what, it was an incredible fight. I do love it. That and carp fishing. Actually, I caught a 50-pound carp once, and that was like one of the biggest fish of my life. And it took me an hour and 10 minutes to get that big boy in. And actually had a little spectators because it was at a park, so they were kind of walking around watching every time I'd try to get it close to the bank, and then it would take right off. And I caught it on 12-pound mono. So I had to, that's why I took about an hour and 10 minutes. I didn't want him to break off because I was going to jump in the water and get him. And it took like 10 minutes to revive him, rock him back and forth and get him out. And I actually got yelled at for releasing him back in the water, but I didn't, it was a beautiful fish.
What did you use for bait for the carp?
It was, you're going to laugh. I wasn't carp fishing on purpose. I was out there bass fishing, and I didn't foul hook him. He took my crankbait, my square bill crankbait, in his mouth. So I had him hooked in his mouth, and it was incredible. And like I said, it wasn't foul hooked. He took my crankbait, and it was incredible. I mean, I didn't know what I had on at first. Obviously, I knew it wasn't a bass. Thought it was a catfish until I saw him kind of surface, and then I knew. And I heard that carp's been there a long time, so people have been after him. So it was a lot of fun, but yeah. So I know that feeling. We froze up a little bit.
Make sure it's caught back up. There it is.
That's all right. Okay. That's all right.
One of the biggest catfish I've caught actually catfishing was 45 pounds.
Wow.
And I caught it on a just cut shad, like a 4-inch gizzard shad that we just cut bait and basically caught it tight lining. But the second biggest catfish I caught was bass fishing, and it was 38 pounds, and I caught it on a 10-inch worm at night in one of my Friday night tournaments. It was a lot of fun. And I knew when I hooked it, I knew it wasn't a bass, but I couldn't come up, and I was just basically like, I fought him for a minute, and one point it was just like, well, I know it's not a bass anymore. Like, I'm just going to break him off or whatever. So I just reeled down and started pulling straight up, and he came up to the top. And when he did, we netted the fish, and I was like, well, I don't even know how big it is, but I want to take it back just to weigh it, just to see what it weighs. And it actually wouldn't fit in the live well. So I just put it in the weigh bag, the head of it in the weigh bag. And my dad was just holding the bag as we were running back with the fish just in the weigh bag.
Oh my God.
Fish, but
that's awesome.
He ended up weighing 38 pounds. He was really big.
That's nice. Now, what's your favorite technique and bait that you use for bass fishing? What would you say your favorite technique is, and lure?
I really like top water baits. Buzz bait's probably one of my favorite things to catch them on.
I love the buzz bait.
I like a buzz bait, but a Texas rig worm is probably one of my go-to baits that I throw just about all the time. It's just a Texas rig plastic, whether it's a worm or a creature bait or something. It's usually Texas rig because one, it catches a lot of fish, and two, I like to be able to feel that bite. That's one of the things that I like is feeling just to be able to feel that when one picks it up, and it's just, I don't know. So soft plastic.
Here we go again. So soft plastics. That's
yeah, I really do like that.
I do too. My favorite actually would be a lipless crank, and then a square bill crankbait. My absolute favorite lures. I love to just yo-yo it in, and then kind of vary up the retrieves a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then after that, I would say the wacky rig. I've always caught some really good fish on the wacky rig.
Yeah, most of the fish I caught this week in Florida at Okeechobee were on the wacky Cinco.
You gotta love that.
Yum dinger, I believe is what I was actually throwing. But yeah, I caught a lot of them on that. And I had my two best fish of the tournament I caught on a devil's horse, which is basically a
spoon, right?
Top water prop bait.
Okay. Those are nice. Now, did you go to school? Did you go to school for fishing? I mean, did you fish in college or?
Yes, I fished in college. I started the fishing team at Louisiana Monroe. I was the
Wow.
president of that fishing team the first 2 years that they actually had a team. It took me, let's see, I started college in 2006. Yeah, so that shows how old I am now.
Oh, the secret's out now, Jake.
Yeah, so in 2006, I graduated from high school, started at ULM, and basically I was seeing on TV all these college tournaments and trying to figure out how to get a fishing team started at University at Louisiana Monroe. Basically, I had to get permission from the president, from the staff, and then it was at that time, I think it still is. Basically, they ran similar to a fraternity or something. It's kind of how it's into
Wow.
the I guess how it's the organization is. So I had to go find an advisor, which meant I had to find a faculty or staff member that would add that to their uh,
Repertoire.
plate. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I basically had to find an advisor, then work on getting sponsors for the team. Basically, we had to figure out how we were going to decide who would go to which tournaments. So we would have local, you know, tournaments within the university to figure out what teams we were going to send to each tournament that either bass or FLW or Boat US. I think that was the three different collegiate circuits there were to fish, and so it was a lot of fun. I got to fish it for 2 years. Basically had, let's see, I know three top tens in college, so I mean, it was pretty fun.
That's really great, Jake.
And then yeah, right after I graduated, the guy that was my fishing partner, he was Brett Pruitt, and he was one of the guys that won the national championship for the bass national championship, which he fishes the elite series now. So
Wow. I mean, so you've been doing this for a while.
yeah. So I fished and after college I fished I started fishing FLW because of the BFLs.
Mhm.
So the BFL basically fit my work schedule. Plus, uh, I fish the Archie division BFLs and mainly fish those because the Archie division tournaments they went to different fisheries than what was locally around the house. The Cowboy division was another choice. It was a lot closer. Probably would have made a lot of sense to fish the Cowboy, but they only fished Toledo Bend and Rayburn, and they basically did that. They would fish 3-on-1, five tournaments a year, three at Toledo, three at Rayburn, or two at Rayburn, and then the next year they do the other. They do three at Rayburn, two at Toledo. So it got to where the way I was looking at it was I'm always going to fish based on the time of year. If I'm only fishing two lakes, I'm going to just get to where I'm doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
And the Archie division was a more challenging division to help make me more versatile of an angler and to build my fishing. Just made more sense for me to fish the Archie BFL.
So it helped you.
And I think, yeah, it helped me become a better angler by fishing more challenging, more diverse types of fisheries.
Wow.
And I fished, let's see, I qualified for the BFL regional championship every year that I fished that. Uh, I won a BFL tournament on Lake Greason. What year
Nice.
was that? It was 2017. What year it was. So
Wow.
yeah, I won that tournament. Uh, that was the very first time that the BFL had ever been to that lake. The Archie division, they added that lake to the schedule for the first time. Uh, I went up there, I think like a week before that tournament, and there was a buddy I was staying with, and he was kind of showing me around. Basically, he was a good friend. He let me stay with him for the tournament and to practice. And when we went up there, I knew he was fishing the same tournament, and I was like, well, look, I don't want to fish your spots. Like, I don't want you to show me anything. I said, but I don't know the lake. I don't know how to get around. I don't know where's safe to run, where you can't. I said, just don't let me hit a boulder or anything, you know. So, anyways, we went out. I kind of learned a little bit about the lake. Came back for the actual practice of the tournament, and I just figured out I caught a 5-pounder within the first hour, and I went maybe a couple hundred yards down the bank, caught a 3, and then a couple hundred yards later, caught another one that was almost 3.
It's nice when you're on a roll like that.
I think I'm in the right area, and I ended up catching fish in the tournament just on that same little stretch all day. I stayed there basically all day, and when I came in, I wasn't expecting to win. I knew I had roughly what he had told me. He said usually it takes around 14 pounds to win, and I knew I had a little better than 14. So I said, I'm pretty good as far as I should be in the top, whatever. But from not ever fishing there, and it was only the second time I'd ever been there. I said, I don't know if I have enough, and it ended up I had almost 16 pounds. So I had more than I thought. Plus I won the tournament.
Plus, you won the tournament.
Yeah. So
that's nice.
It's a good deal.
Hang with us for 1 second, Jake. I just have to have a word from our sponsors quick. KastKing offers you affordable innovation through the best fishing tackle, including a wide variety of quality fishing rods, fishing reels, fishing line, and fishing accessories. Look for KastKing products on Amazon.com, Tackle Warehouse, AcademyOutdoors.com, eBay, and of course, KastKing.com. Make the switch to KastKing like so many fishing pros have. And we are back with Jake Ormond, and we were just talking about tournament fishing. And you were saying, did I interrupt you?
No, and basically, yeah, after winning that BFL, I had a goal, kind of a goal set in my head. I told my wife when I started fishing the BFLs, I said, I either want to win a BFL or finish in the top 10 in Angler of the Year. And after winning, I basically took that money and started fishing what was the Costa series. Now it's the Toyota series. And I basically had the same deal. It's like I want to either win one or finish in the top 10 in Angler of the Year points or whatever to move up. And I qualified for the championship in the Toyota series the 2 years I fished, and I actually finished. I got a top 10 at the Gunnersville championship, and I just basically. And then last year it was a 4-way tie for 8th. I think they had me in 11th, but it was points wise. It was like a 4-way tie points wise, and that was how I qualified for the pro circuit last year. So it was year before last, I guess, but last year was my first year on the pro circuit. So I've basically been just working my way up through the levels for the last
working hard, just working your way up through all the challenges and overcoming them. And that's incredible. You've fished a lot of tournaments, and it just shows your perseverance, pushing through everything and finding that challenge and just overcoming it. And that obviously that makes who you are, and that's why you are where you are. And it's really great to hear that. Now, what kind of tactics do you do for, now that we're getting from winter into spring fishing, switching over is, some differences, obviously. Is there anything that you do to get ready into the spring fishing?
Spring for me, I use a lot of I use a lot of plastics, especially from spring. Once the spring gets here, uh, this I guess early, late winter and early spring, it's a lot of crankbaits and lipless crankbaits and rattle trap, that kind of
My
thing.
favorite.
Yeah, and I throw the original Bill Lewis all the time. That's my
Yep.
favorite one to throw. But once it gets kind of when the water temperature gets above around 58 or so, I start moving towards the plastics. I feel like the plastics just get a little more bites and hard baits up until about May. Once the fish are through spawning and they start moving to their summer deal, then I'll start going back to the crankbaits and uh, spoons and flutter spoons and that kind of things out on the ledges of and deeper fish. But anytime I'm up shallow, I'm keying on usually soft plastics, some sort of way, whether it's wacky Senkos or flukes or
Wow.
some kind of soft plastic though.
Now, have you fished when you were a child too? I mean, what's the age that you started fishing at? What got you into it?
Yeah, I fished with my dad and granddad growing up from probably. I mean, they were probably taking me when I was 3 or 4. I don't know.
Wow.
One of the earliest memories I have was my granddaddy hooked me in the mouth with a buzz bait. Probably when I
Oh,
was probably 5.
good God, man. Good
It was
God.
yeah, we three of us trying to fish out of I think it was a 12-foot aluminum boat, just paddling around in a beaver pond. And it was I don't know, a fish blew up out in front of the boat, and Granddaddy turned around and went to take a cast, and backlash real big. When he turned around, I had this big chartreuse buzz bait hanging out of my
Oh,
mouth.
memories, Jake.
Yeah.
Some good memories, though. You'll never forget that.
Right. Then I remember them asking me. They said, "Do you want to go to the doctor, or you want us to pull it out?" And I remember asking and said, "What's the doctor gonna do?" And my dad said, "He's probably gonna give you a shot, and then he's gonna pull it out just like we will." And I said, "Well, I don't want to get a shot." I was scared of that. So
You're just like me.
yeah, so they laid me down on the tailgate and pushed it on through, cut the barb off
Oh,
of it, and yeah, gave me a Dr. Pepper, and I was good to go.
you were good to go. That's the day you became a man.
It was fun.
That's awesome. Again, memories, fishing with your granddad and dad. I mean, I love that. You'll never forget times like that. And it helped mold you into the fisherman you are today. And
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
that was one of the things that Dad and Granddaddy, they always pretty much we fished with 3 lures out of we fished beaver ponds and stuff.
Mhm.
We fished a lot of little lakes off the river and stuff, and it was always either spinner baits or a buzz bait or a worm. That was the 3 things you fished: a white spinner bait, a black or a white buzz bait, and a worm. That was the only 3
And
baits you had.
and it's those places, like you were saying, the small creeks, the river, where they take you back and where you catch the biggest, the best fish,
Yeah, yeah, we had some really good places to fish. One of the places that we called it the honey hole, which was what the name of the pond. It was just a beaver pond, probably it was probably 10 acres or so, which is a pretty good sized pond, but it had a lot of flooded bushes and buttonwillow bushes in it, and was maybe waist deep on the whole thing. But on a bad day, you would catch 50 or 60 fish. It was it was the most phenomenal fishing hole. No real big fish, a lot of just 2 pounders. So it seemed like was all
but
that we caught.
a
But
great time, but still
oh
a great
yeah,
time.
awesome fishery just to be able to especially for a kid, when I was little, I was probably 5 to 10 most of the time when we would go, and that place was, you were always going to catch fish no matter what. It didn't really matter what you threw; those fish were going to bite. So it was always a lot of fun.
I've fished places like that where you can practically throw your car keys in and they'll bite on it. But again, that's a really good time. You're going to catch fish. You go out there and it's just a great day, and you're making memories. Now you're a daddy, right? You
Yeah.
you have
Yes,
kids?
I have 2 kids. I have a 10-month-old boy named Jonah and a 2-year-old girl named Gabby.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do
They're
does your 2-year-old into fishing yet?
she she is always wanting to go she wants to go wherever I go. So she's in. We're working on see if she can figure out the whole casting the pole. Right now, I think we'd lose it in the lake right now, but it won't be long. She'll be able to hold on to it.
That's going to be great to get him out there, fish with you, and that's going to be exciting. Do you have any other passions that something or hobbies that you're into that if you weren't fishing, maybe you'd be doing? Or
Anything in the outdoors. I deer hunt and turkey hunt a lot.
you're an
Uh,
outdoorsman? Yeah.
yeah, it's all the time outdoors. Uh, Turkey season is probably my favorite thing to do. Uh, I wish it didn't interfere with the fishing so much. It's at the same time of year, but yeah, but it's been and also an art major. I'm a sculpture major in college, so all of
Really?
my art basically was wildlife related, and now I'm more into creating and prototyping and making lures and that kind of thing. So I'm using my sculpture uh, for that kind of things now, I guess, more than actual artworks. But
That's really cool to hear, Jake. That's
yeah,
very refreshing. That's nice. Do you still do it? Or you
yeah.
kind of,
So
yeah.
yeah, I still play around. I'm making my own custom lures and things. Uh, Basically, I've got a couple of baits right now that I need to just kind of figure out how to get, whether I need to get the patent on it or how I need to show it to sell it to someone, or what I need to do there. That's kind of something I'm working on. But
That's now what are no, how'd you get involved with KastKing and what do you do for KastKing?
KastKing, um, I met Al at one of the what expo at the Classic Expo. It was in Houston, I believe.
Okay.
Was it Houston? Yeah,
Yes, I
that's
was
one of
there.
the first. I think it was in Houston. I met him.
Okay. So you met Al at the
Yeah,
Houston Expo?
yeah. I met Al at the Houston Expo, and I had been seeing the KastKing reels online, and had just never been able to put my hands on one. Never been able to see it, and I was skeptical about it. At first,
Of course.
I was not sure what to think, and basically, I got to put my hands on them the first time in that expo, and I bought a couple of them there at the expo, and I really liked them. I saw the reels. I bought me a few. I wanted to try them out, see what I thought about them, and I really liked them. I thought for the quality and for the price that they were really unbeatable as far as the quality and what you were getting for the price. And basically, I sent Al an email and asked to be if I could be a part of the team. And
That's all right. So yes, be part of the team.
yeah, I asked him to be part of the team, and I still hadn't tried the rods at that point, but I knew I wanted the reels, and that was the route I wanted to take with the reels. I've used every reel basically before the KastKing. I had bought every brand there was out there because I really didn't know which route I wanted to go with, and KastKing ended up being KastKing ended up being the best fit for me for the quality and the price of the reels. It really, I was impressed with what they had to offer. And so when I called Al, I said I really want the reels, and they put me on the team for the rods and the reels, and I love the rods. I use the Speed Demon Pro rods and the Spirale
Love that,
rods.
Rob. That's all right. So
Okay.
what are you doing now? Is there what kind of tournament do you have coming up?
So the next tournament I have will be the Pro Circuit event on Smith Lake in Alabama.
That's so Alabama. So you're heading to Alabama.
Yeah, go to Alabama. It goes off limits on the 23rd. So the tournament is March 11th, I believe, or something like that, 8th or somewhere in
Wow.
that week. But yeah, so I'll fish that, and then there's one at South Carolina at Lake Murray.
Okay.
Then I have a Southwest Division at Texoma and Oklahoma, and then I'll come back to Alabama for Lake Eufaula. So it's going to be a pretty busy.
We'll be following you along and rooting you along.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun this year. There's a lot of traveling this year, a lot of back and forth, and this year they're giving the Pro Circuit anglers only 2 days of practice, so that's a challenge there, especially if you've never been to the lakes before.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine.
And on every lake on the schedule, the only lake I actually have been to was Smith Lake for about 5 hours one day. We got it was actually when I finished 10th at the Gunnersville Championship. They had some tornadoes come through, and they canceled the first day of the tournament. And they said, everybody can we had already put our boats in and went through boat check, and they canceled the tournament. And they said, day one's canceled. Everybody will fish the next 2 days. Well, the guys I was staying with, we decided we can either sit here in the hotel and possibly watch our boats fly away with a tornado, or we can just drive 3 hours and go to somewhere else. And we drove down to Smith Lake and just fished around down there for half a day and turned around and drove right back. But so that's the only experience I have on Smith Lake. But
now, if people want to follow you along, they follow along on Facebook. They can find you.
Yeah, I have Facebook. I have Jake Ormond or the Jake Ormond Fishing. I have 2 pages on Facebook. I have Instagram. It's at JMoBass.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Yeah, I have a YouTube. Jake Ormond Fishing on YouTube also. So.
Oh, great! Definitely check you out. That's awesome.
It's new. The whole social media thing is new. That's something I'm really working on this year is getting familiar with posting the videos and uploading and editing and that kind of thing. So
that's a challenge in itself.
Coming. Yeah, it is.
Jake, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight and kind of opening up your life to us and sharing what you have with us. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime, feel free to. I'd be glad to hop on with y'all and talk about anything or any questions you have about the tournaments or how the season's going, anything.
Absolutely. We'll be following along your adventures.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. KastKing spells affordable innovation. Make the switch to KastKing for the best value in fishing gear. KastKing offers you an affordable, quality alternative to high-priced fishing products. Thanks for spending time today with KastKing on the Line. And keep grinding, stay strong, always stay humble, and always keep on fishing. Thanks a lot, Jake. It's been great.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time.
All righty.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. See you soon.
See you soon.
Subscribe to the KastKing YouTube channel too. Learn new fishing tips and fishing hacks. Watch how-to fishing videos and fishing gear comparisons. See new KastKing fishing tackle reviews. Hear interviews with fishing personalities. Enjoy a constant flow of new content from the KastKing Pro Team. Don't miss announcements about these topics. Subscribe now to youtube.com/KastKing. Click the subscribe button below.